Yo, so you just hit level 70 in New World Season 10 Nighthaven. Congratulations. Now it's time to farm gear, mats, etc. But you have no idea where to start. This quick start guide's for you. So tap in. Let's get it. In this guide, I'm going to be giving y'all the secret sauce to efficiently farm some of the best endgame gear, umbral shards, materials, perk charms, and more. For the sake of this guide, I will be looking at it through the perspective or the lens of a new player and or a long-time returning player, assuming that you may not have a company or a community of people to play with yet. But for those of you who do, I got you. To kick things off, one of the best methods to farming endgame gear is high density mob farming throughout Nighthaven. This has been a very popular farm among people, especially at launch. Most notably, I'm sure if you guys watched some of the streams, they were doing what we call the spider farm. It happened in the spider caves where basically people were just getting in big raid groups and killing a bunch of mobs that were instantly respawning, and it was just running around and grabbing gear. Unfortunately, it was patched Tuesday morning, October 14th, so this no longer is effective. However, players have branched out to go to different parts of Nighthaven to find high density mobs and just killing them efficiently and effectively, and it has proven to drop pretty good gear. So this is one of the best ways to farm it initially. I actually did this for a bit, but personally, I can only take so much brain rot, so I eventually stopped. But it has proven to be a very effective way to farm 700 plus gear for your character. Love them or hate them, one of the best ways to farm endgame gear, materials, etc. are ECRs. Now, for those of you who don't know what ECRs are, they stand for Elite Chest Runs. Now, this has been in New World Eternum since the dawn of time and just kind of evolved. So Rev, what do I do in an ECR? How do I get into them, etc.? I got you. So to get into an ECR, all you really got to do is go to global chat, spam X ECR. More often than not, somebody will invite you to a raid group and you just meet up with that raid group wherever they're at and you follow them. Basically what you do in an ECR is when you get into that raid group or follow that mob of people, you're just going to follow them. Somebody's usually going to lead a pathway and you basically go around all of Eternum and going to these elite zones where you're essentially just following this line of people and you are killing bosses and mobs while simultaneously looting chests. That is the main goal. You'll notice as you run around looting these chests that they're all different kinds of chests. Now, I personally just loot everything because I'm already there doing it, but the ones you really want to make sure you focus on are the elite chests. These have a chance to give you what you want. Now, the reason why ECRs are so great are for the following reasons. Number one, you can get gear drops that are legendary 700 plus with some of the new gear perks. Number two, now I haven't personally gotten any, but I have heard from multiple sources that you can actually obtain set pieces from the elite chests as well. So there is a chance of that. Number three, umbral farming. As you guys know, to level your gear from 700 to 800, you have to use umbrals, the currency. Now you are capped at 4,000 per week. And to give you guys a snapshot, I did an ECR yesterday for 2 hours. This may vary depending on the group and the people, but in about a 2-hour time span, I farmed about 14 to 1,500 umbrals, and you get 15 umbrals per elite chest. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an idea what that looks like. Number four, you have a chance to get perk charms. Now, whether you actually use the perk charms or sell them, some of them actually sell for a lot of gold, so there's incentive there as well. Number five, materials. Whether you're a crafter or not and you use the materials, fantastic. If not, you can also sell them because crafting is pretty hot right now, so you can make a little bit of extra cash there. And lastly, and probably the biggest thing, especially if you're a new player, it's super easy. It's relatively monotonous, hence why a lot of people love it or hate it. You know, for me, I love doing these while I'm streaming because it's a good time for me to sit and talk to chat. Or I know a lot of people will just throw on a movie, just watch it as they do these elite chest runs. From what I've heard, these elite chest runs now can last anywhere from like 2 to 4 hours. So just keep that in mind. But the great thing is you can start and stop at any given time. So it's a very flexible way to farm that fits your schedule. Next up, Catacombs. Now, I've had the opportunity to run Catacombs over the last day or so with some of the boys from stream. And honestly, they're an absolute blast. I highly recommend you guys do them. Now, when you run Catacombs, you're going to farm essentially 2 currencies, sterlings and crowns. Sterlings are kind of obtained throughout the catacomb. You can loot them, etc. And you obtain crowns by killing the bosses. Now, once you obtain these currencies, you're going to head over to the Nighthaven Inn settlement, Tula Rest Abbey, and next to the innkeeper, you're going to find a character named Rakar, and you're going to talk to Rakar, and he'll be able to show you the loot table for what you're getting for this currency. You essentially can trade 200 sterlings for a 750 piece of your choice or a 750 cash of your choice, depending on the piece you're looking for, and or you can spend 10 crowns to obtain a 760 set piece. Now, what I would recommend you guys do is figure out which set piece is going to kind of fit with whatever build you're making and start making your way towards that. As you guys know, tier sets are going to be very sought for, so I would highly recommend doing Catacombs and start working towards these set pieces earlier than later. Now, if you're one of the lucky ones that was able to get into a company or a community that does the Gorgon raid, that is also another option to farm gear and or umbrals. Now, I haven't done it since the update, but one of the boys from stream has, and he filled me in on kind of some of the details there. So you can essentially farm up to 750 umbrals per Gorgon run that you will obtain at the end of the raid. So that is something to keep in mind. Number two, in terms of gear. Now, the bosses still drop some of the old gear, the Gorgon gear, and the hoplite stuff, which has not been updated. However, they did update the boss loot tables to drop new gear as well. So as far as I know, I think you're capped at 25 raids a week. So you do have a lot to do, but if you're able to do that, I do think that could be another potential avenue to farm as well. If PvE doesn't tickle your fancy for gearing, PvP also has some great options as well. One of the big reasons why people like to use PvP for farming, especially if you actually PvP or want to eventually get into wars, etc., is a lot of times when you obtain gear through the PvP system, you actually have a higher chance of getting more PvP oriented perks, obviously. And you can obtain this gear through caches and or boxes, and from the PvP track reward system, which can drop some insane gear and also artifacts. One of the best PvP methods to farm endgame gear is through the capture the flag game mode. Now, the reason why this is one of the best methods is because these games can be relatively short. A lot of times these days, people aren't really playing to win. They're just trying to go for quick games. So a lot of times people are just spamming this and just getting this stuff as quick as possible. Next on the list for PvP are the good old fashioned OPRs. Now, in general, very similar to capture the flag. In my opinion, I think capture the flag is better, mainly just because the games can be quicker. In OPRs, a lot of people like to try a little bit harder and can prolong games. So if you're just going for pure efficiency, capture the flag is a little bit better. However, OPRs is just a nice switch up. Influence races. Now, I haven't had the opportunity yet to do any of the influence races since season 10 has come out. However, from the people that I've talked to, it's actually a very insane way to level up your PvP track. Historically, it's always kind of been like that. Not to mention, you do get potential loot to drop from open world kills from players. And this is also just some of the most fun PvP in the game, in my personal opinion. These influence races usually happen at later parts of the day, evenings and nights. Keep that in mind if you want to participate. If you do have the opportunity to do some influence races, basically what they are is essentially what companies have to do for wars, but could also be another solid way to obtain PvP track rewards. Lastly, I did want to throw this on here, arenas. Now, if I'm keeping it real with you guys, I do not recommend this method, especially as a new player or a long-time returning player, as an effective way to farm endgame gear. Number one, I play on US West El Dorado. We've had a queue time since launch, and I think I sat in a 20-minute arena queue yesterday. Not to mention that the games can prolong itself by going 2-2 and then obviously 3-2 if you win or lose, so you can have longer games. The rewards are relatively lackluster, I'd say. I mean, yes, you get your caches, yes, you get your PvP reward track experience, but I think you only get like 75 umbrals. And probably the last big reason I wouldn't recommend this, as I mentioned, again, I would recommend arenas for maybe more experienced players. That's where they like to gravitate towards, since it's a little bit more competitive. So through the lens of a new player or a returning player trying to farm efficiently, I would definitely stick to capture the flag or OPRs. One side note I want to throw in here for you guys as you're doing any of these methods to obtain gear. Keep in mind that the game does have what we call loot bias. So what loot bias is, whatever gear that you're wearing, when you are looting chests, that gear is going to be biased to what you're wearing. So for example, if I want to prioritize farming a fire staff and a hatchet, hypothetically speaking, I want to wear a fire staff and a hatchet, I have a higher chance of that loot being a fire staff or a hatchet. It is possible to not get that stuff, but it kind of leans into it. It's more prominent for armor because obviously you have heavy, medium, and light. So based on how you want to mix and match those pieces to fit within under the light armor threshold, medium armor threshold, or heavy, that's what you want to wear. So keep that in mind as you're building out your sets and what you're wanting to obtain. All right, boys, that's it for this video. I hope this guide helped you out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do that YouTube thing. Helps your boy out very much, man. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys ever want to pop by the stream, we normally stream Tuesday and Thursday evenings around 4 p.m. PST, and sometimes the weekends as well. If you guys can't catch a stream or want to ask me a question and not able to get a hold of me in a comment, the best way to reach me is through the Discord link. I'll have it somewhere around here so you guys can join that. That is the best way to get a hold of me if you guys have any questions at any given time. We also just have an amazing community of players that know a lot more than I do, that they're a great resource in the Discord as well. So that's it for me, man. I'll see you in the next video. 07.